The gleaming lobby of Davidson Tower reflected the city lights as I adjusted my security uniform. Actually, a perfectly tailored Brioni suit that cost more than my stepbrother's car. My father's 65th birthday celebration was in full swing on the 50th floor, while I stood by the entrance, playing the role they'd assigned me. "Make yourself useful for once, Michael," my stepbrother James had sneered, tossing me a security badge. "At least you can watch the door while real business people celebrate." If he only knew that at exactly midnight, crews would begin replacing every Davidson Financial logo in the building with Phoenix Capital, my investment firm that had secretly acquired not just this tower, but their entire company. "Still playing Rent-A-Cop, little brother?" James's voice carried across the marble floor as he escorted another group of executives inside. "Though I suppose someone needs to check IDs." I suppressed a smile, thinking about the documents in my private office 60 floors above them. The ones showing that Phoenix Capital now controlled 51% of Davidson Financial's voting shares. But they didn't need to know that. Not yet. "Good evening, Mr. Davidson," I said quietly, scanning his guests' badges with practiced efficiency. 5 years of being the family disappointment had taught me the value of patience. My phone buzzed silently. A message from my COO, Sarah Chun. "Sign installation teams in position. Legal documents prepared for midnight filing." Through the vast windows, I could see other buildings owned by Davidson Financial dotting the skyline. By morning, every one of them would bear the Phoenix Capital logo, the same logo my stepmother Margaret had mocked as childish when I first showed it to her. "Remember when Michael said he was starting an investment firm?" I overheard James telling a group of bankers by the elevator. Dad offered him a VP position here, but he wanted to build something of his own instead. The bankers chuckled politely, not realizing they were laughing at their new boss. Phoenix Capital had spent the past 5 years quietly becoming one of the most powerful investment firms in the world, though we'd kept our ownership structure deliberately obscure. "Michael," Margaret's voice cut through my thoughts as she clicked across the lobby in her designer heels. "The service entrance needs checking. That's more your level." The service entrance, she sneered, had actually led to a private elevator I'd had installed months ago, one that went straight to Phoenix Capital's secret headquarters at the top of the building. While they thought I was working security, I've been running a multi-billion-dollar empire right above their heads. My phone lit up again, this time with a message from our legal team. "SEC filings complete. Ownership transfer executes at midnight. Still wearing that cheap watch?" James called out as he passed through again. "When you're ready to admit failure, we might have an entry-level position open." The cheap watch was actually a limited edition Patek Philippe, deliberately chosen to look understated. But that was the beauty of real power. It doesn't need to advertise itself. I checked the time. 10:45 p.m. In just over an hour, Davidson Financial would learn that while they were busy mocking the security guard, he'd been orchestrating the biggest financial takeover of the year. "Mr. Chun," a voice whispered. "Marcus Wong, my head of operations, disguised as another security guard. The teams are in place. Logo replacements ready to begin at midnight exactly." I nodded slightly, watching the parade of executives and financial elite flowing into the building. Each one of them would soon discover that their real boss had been standing quietly by the door, watching and waiting for the perfect moment. The irony wasn't lost on me. Through the lobby windows, I could see the massive Davidson Financial logo illuminating the night sky. In less than 2 hours, that logo would be replaced with the rising phoenix I designed, a symbol of rebirth rising from the ashes of underestimation. My phone buzzed again. Wall Street Journal exclusive ready to run at 12:01 a.m. Phoenix Capital emerges, the silent giant that acquired Davidson Financial. I smiled, thinking about the months of careful planning, the shell companies, the quiet stock purchases. While they thought I was checking IDs, I'd been checking off each step of my master plan. Sometimes the best disguise is the one others create for you themselves. "Ladies and gentlemen," James's voice echoed through the lobby's speaker system. "Please proceed to the 50th floor. In just over an hour, Davidson Financial will make an announcement that will reshape the financial world." I maintained my position by the door, watching another wave of guests arrive. Each of them barely glanced at the security guard, who actually owned the building they were entering. Michael, Margaret sauntered past, dripping in diamonds. Make sure you check everyone's ID properly. We can't have any undesirable elements at your father's party. If she only knew that while she was planning this celebration, I've been orchestrating a corporate takeover that would make financial history. Phoenix Capital hadn't just acquired Davidson Financial. We'd systematically purchased every major company they did business with. My phone vibrated. Sarah again. Sign replacement teams reporting in. All 27 Davidson buildings ready for simultaneous logo change at midnight. Still dreaming of being a real businessman? James smirked as he passed through again. I saw your little firm's website. Phoenix Capital, trying to rise from the ashes of failure. Rising from something, brother dear, just not failure. Through the lobby's security monitors, I could see the 50th floor celebration in full swing. My father, Robert Davidson, holding court like a king who thought his reign would last forever. If he'd bothered to check his company's stock registry more carefully, he might have noticed the pattern of purchases that had gradually transferred control to Phoenix Capital. Sir, Marcus murmured as he passed, still in his security disguise, Bloomberg is standing by for the midnight announcement. CNBC has their cameras ready on all major Davidson buildings. I nodded slightly, continuing my act of checking badges and monitoring the entrance. Each guest who passed through had no idea they were being admitted by the man who would soon control their financial destiny. Look at him, I heard James tell his executive friends by the elevator. Dad gives him one simple job, watching the door, and he acts like it's a corporate position. My phone lit up with another message, this time from our PR team. Times Square billboards secured for midnight reveal. All financial news networks aligned for simultaneous coverage. The Davidson Financial logo still glowed proudly above the city, its days numbered. Soon it would be replaced by the Phoenix, a symbol I designed during those early days when they'd first pushed me aside, claiming I'd never understand real business. Michael, my father's voice suddenly cut through the lobby as he descended in the elevator. At least try to look professional while checking IDs. You're embarrassing enough as it is. Yes, sir, I replied quietly, thinking about the documents waiting in my office that would transfer control of his empire to my hands. Just doing my job. He snorted, adjusting his expensive tie. A job any trained monkey could do. To think you could have been a VP here. Instead, I became the CEO who bought your company out from under you. Sarah's message flashed on my phone. All teams in position. Legal documents processed. Stock exchange notified for morning trading. Through the windows, I could see news vans beginning to gather. They thought they were here to cover Davidson Financial's latest acquisition announcement. Instead, they'd witnessed the emergence of Phoenix Capital from shadows. Everyone upstairs. James called out. Dad's big announcement is almost here. The lobby began to clear as guests headed to the 50th floor. Each of them would have a perfect view when the external signs began to change. Marcus appeared one last time. Sir, all systems go. Crews in position at every Davidson property worldwide. My father's voice carried from the elevators. Tonight, Davidson Financial proves why we're the kings of Wall Street. I finally moved from my post by the door, removing the security badge and straightening my Brioni suit. Around the city, crews waited by every Davidson logo, ready for the transformation. Midnight. The first sounds of machinery whirring filled the night air as the massive Davidson Financial sign began to move. What's that noise? James's voice carried through the lobby speakers as he prepared to make his announcement upstairs. And then it began. The transformation was simultaneous and devastating. Every Davidson Financial logo in the city began to change, the massive signs rotating to reveal the Phoenix Capital emblem rising in their place. Through the lobby's security monitors, I watched the 50th floor celebration dissolve into chaos. What's happening? James's voice cracked over the speaker system. Who authorized this? Security. I smiled, removing my security earpiece and taking out my phone. On every screen in the building, including the massive lobby displays, the same message appeared. Notice, Davidson Financial is now a wholly owned subsidiary of Phoenix Capital. For inquiries, Please contact CEO Michael Chun. Impossible. My father's voice boomed through the lobby as he rushed toward the elevators. This is some kind of prank. The Wall Street Journal alert hit everyone's phones simultaneously. Breaking news. Phoenix Capital emerges from shadows, reveals acquisition of Davidson Financial in historic takeover. James burst out of the elevator, his perfect hair disheveled. Michael, we need you to. He froze, seeing me standing in my impeccable suit, no longer playing the role of security guard. Need me to what, James? I asked quietly. Check IDs? Or explain how your new boss acquired your company while you were busy mocking him. Margaret and my father emerged next, their faces ashen as they watched their empire's logos disappear across the city skyline. This isn't possible, Margaret whispered, clutching her diamonds. You're nothing. Actually, Sarah said, emerging from the executive elevator in a sharp business suit. Mr. Chun is now the controlling shareholder of Davidson Financial, along with its subsidiaries, properties, and client portfolios. Phoenix Capital has been acquiring shares through various entities for the past 5 years. The lobby screens showed Phoenix Capital's true scope, over $50 billion in assets under management, controlling interests in dozens of major financial institutions, and a global network that made Davidson Financial look provincial. But we checked every major shareholder. James sputtered. You checked what we wanted you to check, I replied calmly. Amazing how easy it is to hide ownership when people think you're just a security guard. My phone buzzed continuously as news alerts poured in. Phoenix Capital, the hidden giant of Wall Street, reveals itself. Davidson Financial acquired in masterful stealth takeover. Michael Chun, from security guard to financial kingdom. Sir, Marcus approached, now in an executive suit. CNBC is ready for your live interview. And the exchange wants to discuss tomorrow's trading protocols. My father stumbled forward, his authority evaporating. Son, why? Why this elaborate deception? Because you taught me an important lesson, Dad, I said, watching the Phoenix logo illuminate the night sky. When you pushed me aside, made me work security at company events, you showed me the value of being underestimated. The lobby filled with reporters as the story broke. Financial news networks broadcast live shots of Davidson buildings transforming across the globe, the Phoenix rising simultaneously on 3 continents. Mr. Chun, a Bloomberg reporter, pushed forward. Sources say Phoenix Capital has been secretly controlling major financial markets. Not controlling, I corrected. Revolutionizing. While Davidson Financial was focused on traditional banking, we were building the future of finance. Blockchain, AI-driven trading, quantum encryption, all developed while I was supposedly checking IDs. James made one last desperate attempt. The clients won't stand for this. They're loyal to Davidson Financial. Are they? I smiled, pulling up another screen. Check your client list against Phoenix Capital's subsidiaries. Those loyal clients have been working with us for years, through companies you never bothered to investigate because you thought you were too important to do proper due diligence. Sarah approached with a tablet. The SEC filing is public. Davidson Financial stock will be suspended at market open, pending reorganization under Phoenix Capital's management. And speaking of management, I continued. Every Davidson Financial employee will receive 2 options tomorrow. Join Phoenix Capital with improved benefits and equity participation, or accept a generous severance package. Unlike some people, I believe in taking care of those who do the actual work. Margaret's social climbing instincts kicked in. Michael, darling, surely we can discuss this as a family. Family? I raised an eyebrow. Like when you made me use the service entrance? Or when James suggested I was better suited for security than finance? The screens showed Phoenix Capital's latest innovations, financial technology that made traditional banking obsolete, investment strategies that had quietly reshaped global markets, and a corporate structure that prioritized innovation over ego. Tomorrow morning, I addressed the growing crowd of reporters. Phoenix Capital begins a new era in financial services. Davidson Financial's assets will be integrated into our global network, its technologies updated, its culture transformed. My father found his voice again. You'll destroy everything I built. No, Dad. I'll improve everything you couldn't imagine. While you were teaching James how to show off wealth, I was learning how to create it. While you were hosting parties, I was revolutionizing finance. The security guard you dismissed? He was actually guarding the future. Sarah appeared again. Sir, the Asia markets are opening. They're requesting guidance on the transition. I checked my cheap watch, the same one James had mocked hours earlier. Tell them Phoenix Capital's protocols are now in effect. And prepare the conference room for tomorrow's global staff announcement. The lobby had become a media circus, with cameras broadcasting the transformation live across the world. Through the windows, the Phoenix logo glowed bright against the night sky, its wings spread wide over what was once Davidson territory. Mr. Chun, a final reporter called out, "One last question. Why keep your ownership secret for so long?" I looked up at the Phoenix, thinking about the years of careful planning, the quiet acquisitions, the patient wait for this perfect moment. Because true power doesn't need to announce itself, I replied. Sometimes the best way to build something extraordinary is to let others think you're just watching the door. While they were laughing at the security guard, he was quietly buying their kingdom. As my helicopter lifted off from the building's helipad, my building now, I looked down at the transformed skyline. Sometimes the person they relegate to security becomes the one who truly secures the future. Sometimes the greatest victory comes from letting them think you're checking IDs while you're actually checking off the steps to their takeover. And as for working security, I think I'll keep the badge. After all, some of the best business lessons come from watching how people treat those they think are beneath them. The Phoenix continued to rise across the city, each glowing emblem a reminder that sometimes the most powerful person in the room is the one they order to watch the door.